Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2017. Now, as you guys are watching this, I am getting on my plane. If you're watching it just as it released, I'm getting on my plane in order to go to Indianapolis to the North American International Tournament. I am very excited about that. It's gonna be an awesome time. I hope to see a lot of you guys there. And if you do see me, definitely come say hi, as it's always nice to meet people who see my channel and everything. It's always really good because if it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. So I always appreciate getting to talk to you. So yeah, Espeon Garbodor along with Zoroark Drampa are probably regarded as the two best decks in the format. Zoroark, definitely the best one. Espeon Garbodor coming in a close second. This is very close to what I used in Seattle, which I was a bit unlucky to get 33rd place and I bubbled, and therefore I wasn't able to make day 2 at our regionals this season. But hey, we still have the North American International Championship to really get that result. So yeah, main attacker Garbodor, Trash Avalanche, we're all very familiar with the concept. We have the Garbotoxin Garbodor as support for the deck. Then we have Espeon-GX, which is usually the main attacker of the deck. Psybeam dealing 30 damage, then Psychic dealing 60 plus 30 for every energy on your opponent's Pokemon. And then we have Divide GX, which now that there are lower HP Pokemon, such as Combi, such as Ruas, Froakies, Eevees, Trubbishes, Grubbins, all of those, they get knocked out by Divide GX no matter where they are. So that puts a lot of pressure on your opponent in order to have 2 of them down at the same time instead of just 1, as they're not safe on the bench. And we have the Flareon pairing in order to make our Metagross matchup much more manageable. We only have 1. If it's priced, we'd still have Garbotoxin support, and even if it gets Lysandered and knocked out, we still have Garbodor for Garbotoxin support and shutting off Metagross, so should be an okay matchup to play out. My current desk is a mess, so I can't position myself well. I really need to clean this up before I leave. Yeah, this should be good. Okay, so Oricorio as tech against Vespiquen and as a natural sniper, supernatural sniper I guess, based on the supernatural dance. It combines really well with Divide GX from Espeon. And then for supporter cards, I took a page from Daniel's Zoroark list, and I have 1 Bridget and 1 Fan Club in there. We have the 4-3-2 Sycamore and Lysander. I was favoring 3 Lysander for a long time now, but due to space concerns, I'm back to 2. For Ultra Ball, 3 via Seeker, 2 Field Door, which I think are really good because they can potentially become plus 40 damage for Trash Avalanche. And we have the 4 Float Stone, which gives us a lot of versatility to retreat, and then the 3 Choice Bands to increase our damage output. 8 and 4 split on the energy, and let's see how we do on the ladder with this deck. Now we've covered Mega Ray, then we've covered Zoroark. Today we're covering Espeon Garbodor. Tomorrow I'm guessing Decidueye Tablemon, the version that got top 8 in, like the version without Ninetales, the version that got top 8 in Mexico City Regionals. I don't know what other deck. Perhaps Gyarados would be a decent deck to cover. It's being talked about in a lot of places, and wow, we actually get a pretty bad starting hand. We do get the turn 1 Eevee, or rather Espeon-GX for sure, and we also get a Hex to try to deny my opponent's setup. However, we won't get too much of a setup ourselves. But the Ultra Ball top deck is actually really nice. Really nice. And it seems like we're up either against Mega Ray or Vespiquen. I didn't notice my opponent's types on the previous screen, so I really don't know which of these 2 decks it is, but the Hex Maniac will hurt either of them pretty badly. Pretty badly. So I feel like I'm just gonna play the Hex here, and I'm going to pass. That will definitely slow down my opponent by a lot, and then I can Ultra Ball for Lele to get things going. We see an Ultra Ball that might give us insight into what my opponent is playing. And it seems to be Mega Ray. So the deck we just featured yesterday, or 2 days ago. 2 days. Yeah, it's because I recorded yesterday, but you guys are watching this on Wednesday, and Monday was, 2 days ago. We are immediately paired up against it. So this definitely, I think it's a tough matchup for Espeon Garb for sure. We really want to set up Garbotoxin. That's like our best out here. Flareon is obviously completely useless. I kind of want to keep the Field Blower available, simply because, well, that means I'm going to N, and I really don't want to N. So I'm actually gonna discard the Field Blower. Field Blower is nice to get rid of DCEs. I'm gonna have to Sycamore here. Now let's check our prize cards because I didn't check with Espeon. There's one Trubbish priced, Garbotoxin is available. There's one Lele priced, as we only have 2. There's one via Seeker priced, and then the Fan Club is there, the Bridget as well. There's 2 Sycamore priced, and then there's something else. What else is priced? Other cards are priced, which I cannot recall. Okay, so yeah, we definitely go for a Sycamore here. I wish I could go for a Bridget or for the Fan Club, but because I don't have Shaman, I can't do that. And we really need to set up the Garbotoxin Garb as soon as possible. Losing the Float Stone is not great, of course, but there's not much we can do about that. I wonder if this is the best play. I think so. There was an argument to attaching the tool cards differently for sure. We get the Garbotoxin Garbodor. I could divide GX and place all 10 damage counters on the Ray. That would mean that, yeah, I think that's the best play because, so I'm probably going to have to attach to Tapu Lele this upcoming turn, but 3 energies on Lele plus the Choice Band does allow me to knock out Mega Ray if it has 3 energy, 120, 150, yep. So this seems like the best bet. Attacking Oranguru doesn't really accomplish too much. We only deal 60 or even 30. Confused Oranguru doesn't really care about anything. And off of the Bridget we can get another Espeon. We can retreat into that Espeon. We can get 2 more Trubbishes, and one of them can become the Garbotoxin Garbodor, which is what we're looking for. And we have follow-up Hexes or Sycamore to draw more cards. So my opponent will get a pretty good turn here with abilities and whatnot. This is where I kind of regret attaching the energy to the Espeon, but I still feel like it's the right play simply because I was able to divide GX the Rayquaza, which is powered up and is a threat. And my opponent needs a ton of cards to knock us out here. He needs a Float Stone, he needs a Spirit Link, he needs a Mega Ray, and he needs an energy, a Stadium, and potentially 3 more basic Pokemon. So that's 8 cards. And he currently has 5 in his hand, one of which is an unknown, which he seems like he's going to use right here. Or not. He just first Seekers for N. Okay. I'm not too happy with that placing as our hand is actually pretty decent. And our deck is still pretty big, but hopefully we don't dead draw off of this N. And we actually do. We actually do dead draw off of the N. Oh boy. We actually do dead draw. Oh wow, my opponent just gives up. That's weird. With no Trubbish in play, with no threat of Garbotoxin, I don't agree with that concession. I feel like my opponent was still very much in the game. Like, seriously, very much in the game. Very much in the game. So yeah. Let's move on to the next match. I think this matchup is decently even with the Mallow and the Unknowns. Trash Avalanche isn't that much of a threat to them because Mega Ray can certainly, like if you look at the videos on Monday, we set up using very few item cards and we weren't even trying to hold back. But if you're purposely trying to hold back on some, like Trash Avalanche doesn't become a problem. So it's actually Espeon trying to confuse. Interesting hand. It's Espeon trying to confuse different Pokemon and then two-shotting Mega Rays perhaps with Lele as an option as well. And okay, so we're up against Greninja now. Greninja is certainly a bad matchup for this deck unless you're able to set up Garbotoxin super early and you're able to keep abilities in check. If they set up with not too many item cards, you're definitely in a bad position. And our starting hand, okay, that in top deck I'm really happy to see, simply because I really did want to get rid of the DCE or the Garbodor. We see that 2 Trubbish are prized, wow. 2 Trubbish are prized, 1 Field Blower is prized, and then two Choice Band are priced, which I actually don't mind, and something else is priced. Maybe the Rescue Stretcher, I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, we're gonna get a confusion flip here. It's not really impactful. I can, however, okay, I can Light Thunder, maybe make my opponent whiff. It doesn't really make a difference. The important thing is dealing with 30 damage and having the TCE. So we get the TCE, which is great. We get the Lele, but not much else. So I'm just gonna Psybeam here. We have the TCE. If my opponent evolves, we can still take 2 knockouts on the Frogadier and the Froakie. We see the Level Ball, so that's 1 item card. But yeah, that's just 1 item card, which is not great for us. Maybe Lysander was a better play. We really don't know what my opponent had in his previous hand. And there's the Water Duplicates, having played a single item card. So yeah, this is definitely a bad matchup for the deck. A really, really bad matchup for the deck. Yes, we get 2 prizes here. We even get to set up another Espeon. However, I definitely have to Fan Club here for a Trubbish and my second Lele. And it's gonna come down to, will Greninja do Greninja things? That's what it's going to come down to. Will Greninja do Greninja things and therefore like Brick? Divide GX also makes it so that the splash energy doesn't activate as we're placing damage counters and not dealing damage. There's 4 damage counters and there's 6 more on Froakie for a total of 10. We get ahead on a price count by 2, which is pretty cool. And we'll probably get a Choice Band here. Well, we get 1 Trubbish, which is good. And we get a Choice Band as mentioned. So the Choice Band I'll probably just attach to thin up my deck. I might just want to Sycamore here. My opponent immediately gets a Greninja. He plays a Supra, so that's 2 item cards in the discard pile. Which is, I mean, it's good news in the sense that we need them to start piling up. There's a 3rd item card, another Level Ball, but my opponent is setting up. So we really, 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 really need that Garbotoxin Garb up as soon as possible. Presumably it is upcoming turn, but I feel like that's going to be really difficult. Okay, my opponent does NS. Our deck is still pretty big, and that means we do dead draw off of the N. Yeah, we're ahead, and our deck is still 40 plus cards. And okay, that's a great top deck. That's an absolutely amazing top deck. Okay, the TCE I'm going to attach to whom? It's only 3 item cards. I feel like Lele is the right call here, because Lele pressures a lot more. Like, Espeon is only dealing 60 damage, and that's nothing too impressive. What we need though is to really lock down abilities here. So let's hope we can get that. We get the floats and we get Trubbishes, but we do not get we do not get the Garbotoxin Garb, and we only get N as our follow-up supporter, so that's not great. That is actually not great at all. And yeah, Greninja Break can just finish off the Espeon-GX right here. And we don't really have a good follow-up. Tapu Lele only deals 60 damage for the same amount of energy. We do see the Giant Water Shuriken. We might even see a double Giant Water Shuriken, which would be pretty bad. That would be pretty bad. And no, my opponent chooses to knock me out, and we see an Ace Trainer, so even worse than the end. If he finds another basic water here, we are in a lot of trouble. Okay. Thankfully, wow, Timer Ball, are you serious? Like, that's strictly a worse repeat ball, or level ball, or dive ball. The 25% chance that you get 2 evolutions definitely does not offset the chance that you'll actually not get anything. And my opponent actually is able to take a knockout with Shadow Stitching because of the Choice Band. So, now we have to hope. Yeah, we're not gonna win here. We're just outright not going to win. Unless my opponent suddenly decides to play a ton of item cards. There's still 4 Float Stone in the deck, and we will be able to Sycamore here, so that's good. If we can shut off abilities, we might have a chance here. Just might have a chance. So we got a pretty good handoff of the N to 4, or the Ace Trainer to 3. We do find a Float Stone, which is great. We're gonna do this. And now the question is, do I attach energy to Tapu Lele? Do I attach energy to someone else? Presumably the Garbs. 1, 2, 3, 4 item cards. So that's 80 damage. If I deal 80 right here, just 1 more item card or potentially a Field Blower would actually solve our issue. Now my opponent could have Field Blower of his own, but we still have the Float Stone. I think it's unlikely that he has 2 basic water energy, especially after he didn't Moonlight Flash in order to Field Blower and double Giant Water Shuriken my Garbodor. So there's the Field Blower. Does he have 2 basic water energy or even a Lysander? And we see a Trainer's Mail, okay. We see a Trainer's Mail. So my opponent might actually just go after the Tapu Lele. Oh. We see the Lysander. We see another Trainer's Mail. Okay, so now my opponent needs 2 energy. Or one basic water energy. That's all he needs. Wow, he even has the max potion. Wow, choosing to discard the energy and choosing Fisherman. Okay, so he's saying he doesn't care about my Garbotoxin Garbodor. He's just going to go after it. But now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 item cards. If I'm able to find a Field Blower myself, and I could even find the Rescue Stretcher as well in order to re-establish the Garbotoxin. And now my opponent has used up a lot of item cards. Oh, and there's the Field Blower. Okay, so no matter what, I have a knockout here. If I find the Garbodor. So best case scenario, Garbodor and Rescue Stretcher. That's best case scenario. What? That was worst case scenario. No Ultra Ball, no follow-up supporter. No VS Seeker, no Garbodor, no... Are you serious? Wow. You can't be serious, this is what I drew. Wow. That's just atrocious. How did I draw 4 energy? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4 energy out of the 7 I have left in my deck. That makes no sense to me. I would have actually welcomed an end here. Okay, so now there's enough item cards for us to win the match. Except that now, I think I would have personally used Fisherman. Okay, well, there's one basic water energy. Wow. Another giant water shuriken. Wow. We had a chance, guys. We actually had a chance, but that Sycamore into 7 absolutely useless cards, that's just something that will not happen too often, you know? And now my opponent is down to 1 prize card, and we are pretty much out of luck. And I get my last energy, so yeah. Pretty awful. Pretty awful. We had an okay start. We had an okay follow-up after that Ace Trainer to 3, but then our next Sycamore just gave us 7, 8 completely dead cards. Not much you can do there when the deck just decides not to work for you. We could have drawn a whole other set of cards instead of 5 different energy and an Espeon and a Choice Band and etc, etc, etc. So yeah, let's just move on to the next game. We are going first once again. I believe this might be a mirror match with a Vaporeon tech in there. It's looking like one. So this could be really tricky. Going first in the mirror match, in the Espeon mirror match, I feel like could even potentially be bad. We do see the Flareon right there. So that confirms Eevee and Espeon at least. Certainly the water typing was Vaporeon, and certainly my opponent is using Garbodor instead of just a straight Garbodor Espeon deck, you know? So yeah, the reason this gets tricky is the fact that it gets tricky because if you evolve first, you actually get hit first because you cannot attack. Pokémon Fan Club, no Bridget. Okay, let's figure out our prize cards. There's no Eevee, no Espeon prized. There's 1 Trubbish prized. There's 1 N prized. There's Bridget prized. There's 1 Float Stone prized. 1 DC prized, and 1 Psychic prized. Those are our 7 prize cards, or 6 prize cards rather, not 7. It's never been 7, Pablo. What are you talking about? Okay, so off of this Lele, because I do have a good follow-up, I'm gonna go for the Fan Club. And with the Fan Club, I'm gonna find another Eevee, and that's the one I'm going to evolve, and another Trubbish to apply the pressure and always have the Garbodor threat sticking there. So now I'm going to evolve the benched Eevee, and I think that's all I'm going to do. Because if my opponent Lysanders, I still have Float Stone to retreat whatever I want. I'm expecting him to evolve and attack my Eevee, and then I have a follow-up retreat into the Espeon-GX, there's the energy, and deal 120 damage plus confusion to his own Espeon-GX, which is pretty good. And there's a Choice Band. Jeez. And he does exactly what I wanted to do. So I do have the option to potentially find a DCE and to potentially find a TCG and then flip for game. I didn't take that risk. Why? I don't even find energy. That's so unfair. That is so unfair. Not a single energy. Oh. Not even to try to risk the flip. That's just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. No comment, guys. I know a lot of you tell me not to complain about my luck, but the previous game with Sycamore into 5 energy, this time with Sycamore into 0 total energy. Okay, now we find a DCE, we win, right? I don't care about any abilities here, I just want to Sycamore and see if we can win the game. And we can. Yeah, we can. Through weakness, we win here. Probably evolving was a bad idea because that eliminated the possibility of Espeon-GX follow-up. And okay, so we got pretty bad luck over the Sycamore, but we also got pretty good luck against my opponent that he dead drew. But I really don't like showcasing such kind of matches simply because it doesn't really show you like the dynamics of being careful with your item cards and the mirror match and what you have to consider in the middle and later stages of the game. Okay, so yeah, we're up against Oliphant. Not exactly sure who that is, and this will be the last game of the video, no matter the results. But yeah, the deck is pretty solid. I was disappointed after being so close in Seattle and then not doing so well in Mexico. Trying to be objective, I did face an auto loss, or pretty much an auto loss in Turbo Dark, and then I also faced Mega Ray, and I had no responses to Mega Ray, and my opponent didn't give up as easily as you saw in the first game. I don't know. I mean, I do like the deck, and this hand is pretty good. Bridget and double energy for the turn 2 Divide GX. A Lele for follow-up if want to Sycamore, even the end. Even an Ultra Ball to potentially find a Garbodor Toxin Garb if that's what we're looking for. So yeah. Pretty decent hand. Okay, done. And my opponent still selecting his starting Pokemon for whatever reason. Don't know what else he's thinking about. Looks like he went to Worlds, not last year, but a few years ago. And we're up against... Okay. We are up against potentially Vileplume. Potentially Vileplume, Decidueye. Potentially Vileplume, Decidueye, Ninetales, but let's check our prices first. So no Eevee are priced, no Espeon, the Flareon is also there, no Trubbish priced, one Garbodor priced, but Garbodor Toxin is there, which is pretty good, and no Lele priced either. One Field Blower is priced, one Garbodor, one Field Blower, one N, one Sycamore, one DCE, and one Psychic. Those are our 6 price cards. I don't know why I keep saying 7 price cards. It's never been 7 price cards. I kind of want to attach the Float Stone already to the Trubbish so that I'm ready for the next turn. The Divide GX threat is real. My opponent is running the Trainer's Mail version of the deck, so it should be decently weak to Garbodor. But the 1st of Jan plans could put a huge dent in our plans simply by setting up the Vileplume on turn 1. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We shall see how this goes. Ultra Ball, wow. Special Charge. That's an interesting inclusion in the deck. Maybe my opponent is running Rainbows and DCs. But that would make him incredibly weak to... Drampa GX, which obviously we're not running, but I mean it's part of the best deck in the format, and Garbodor Drampa is also a pretty big threat. There we see the Vulpix. We actually see double Rowlet, no Vileplume, so that's really good for us. Really, really good for us. And we do see a Beacon, so that will definitely prompt me to use the N. Whatever I do top deck, I think I will just search for Garbotoxin Garbodor. We see the double Dartrix, and I'm going to N. My opponent didn't even play the Stadium to prevent it from getting field blowered away, and wow. The Rescue Stretcher. I mean, losing the Rescue Stretcher is not that big a deal. I would have liked to have it for the later stages in the game in case something does happen to this Garbodor. So what's more important? Garbotoxin Garbodor or Flareon? I think early game Garbodor and then later game the Flareon, and it's also very likely that my opponent will remove the Float Stone at some point or another. So I could just go for the Espeon here. Now the question is, do I divide GX and knock out a Rowlet? Do I knock out the Vulpix? What's the play here? What is actually the play? And there's 3 item cards already in my opponent's discard pile. I think going straight Espeon with the Garbotoxin support is correct here. And I think knocking out the Vulpix is good here as well, simply because it eliminates any more possibilities of Beacon. And if my opponent decides to spread damage, I still have Psychic. If something becomes really threatening, I can still divide GX. Worst case scenario would be, well, we don't have that great of a follow-up to this turn because we don't have access to Lysander through Lele or through just the regular Lysander. And, well, we see another Vulpix, however. We do see another Vulpix. So, can I afford to lose this energy? Wow, he actually attaches the DCE, which I'm really surprised. I am genuinely really surprised. We see the double Float Stone attach, meaning our field blower is going to be pretty good here. And my opponent actually plays a field blower of his own. Oh, because he was going to Sycamore. We see another Coco, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4 item cards for my opponent, plus the 2 Float Stones, which I'm going to remove. That's 6. So yeah, Decidueye, another item card, pretty good for us. And we do see an end, so we know my opponent is very likely that he will end the next turn. 20 damage spread means Espeon-GX is definitely a card in my opponent's deck, I would say. I reckon because I should still have enough psychic energy, so I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna literally do plus 40 damage, or I could remove the Stadium. However, I think it's very unlikely that the Stadium will be out of commission for a long time, so I'm just gonna do this. Hopefully discarding the Oricorio doesn't come to bite us later on in the game. I will bench the other Eevee, I will bench the other Trubbish, I will reactivate Garbotoxin, and I'm gonna Psychic for the knockout. So no more spread means my opponent relies 100% on Holo Hunt to recover the field blower or a second field blower. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 item cards in my opponent's discard pile. We do see a Ninetales and we see an end. So we have the Lysander, 7 item cards, that's 140 damage. We still don't have a Garbodor in play, however. Why Why must I draw so terribly off of these early ends? Why? Gosh. Okay. I cannot attack into the Ninetales because he can just Ice Path GX the damage back. So Confusion is definitely the way to go here. Wow. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good top deck. Losing the Rescue Stretcher though. Not happy about that. Not happy at all. Okay. There's no possibility. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's no possibility of knocking out the Ninetales here. So I guess I will just end. I will give my opponent extra cards, but I really need to find a good follow-up, which I don't. And I'm gonna attach the energy to Espeon, and I'm just gonna confuse. I could divide GX and get a knockout as well. Or set up Ninetales. No, I think Confusion is more important here. Definitely feel like Confusion is huge here. 180 HP left. He will probably want to risk the flip. We only deal 120, but if I Sycamore and find a Choice Band, I will actually be okay here. Okay, my opponent Lysandre's up the Eevee, interestingly enough. Does he not risk the flip? I just need... Oh, perfect, okay. So now I need an energy and a Choice Band. That's what I need here. An energy and a Choice Band. Okay, since I'm gonna Sycamore, I might as well get rid of the Stadium. Might as well get rid of... Well, actually, I need a DC if I'm going to retreat. I need a Float Stone. Oh, I really need to retreat this dude. Come on. No. Oh, okay. No, but I didn't get the Choice Band. Oh. I did not get the Choice Band. Nope, I'm gonna keep that. Oh, and the other Espeon is prized. You're kidding me. No. Oh, no. I discarded it. Ugh. This is... Oh, but Flareon. Flareon also retreats for 1 energy. That's fine. Okay. What I didn't want to do, however, was... Thing is... Yeah, I really can't attack for Psychic. Oh, I should have used the GX attack. That's what I should have done. Should have used the GX attack. Yeah, the GX attack makes way more sense here. I didn't discard the Hex because I might want to use Hex to prevent the Decidueye placing damage counters. Odds are that my opponent will knock out my Garbodor this time around, activating his abilities. However, even if he does that, if he doesn't use the GX attack, we get a knockout on the Ninetales. And then we have Flareon. And Flareon helps us in knocking out the Decidueye to finish off the game. So that's what I was saying. Yep, he does get the Ice Blade. That's perfectly fine. We have the knockouts. As long as we can set up a Garbodor here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 item cards already. We will attach the energy here, and I reckon Hex is a better play here. We don't need to be fire type just yet, and we do get a knockout on the Ninetales. And we have VS Seeker for Lysander for game. And we have 2 Espeons powered up. So, and we get a Sycamore off of our prize cards in case we do get end. We still have outs to doing this. So yeah, my opponent recognizes that I'm now threatening with fire types, and therefore he cannot promote the Decidueye. He also can't Lele for the end, which is also really good. We see an Ultra Ball, so that's a 9th item card. And we see another Ultra Ball discarded, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9. Wow, that's 10 actually. 10 item cards in the discard pile. See another Decidueye. That's perfectly fine. No N means we win. Thanks to the Flareon. And there's the N, of course. I mean, it makes sense. We have played one via Seeker and one Lysander, and we get the Lysander for a game. So yeah, pretty lucky. Our deck is relatively thin, and we still had at least 3 outs plus a Lele. Oh no, no Lele. So we had 3 outs. We also had Sycamore, a Sycamore. Yeah, we actually didn't have too many outs. But we haven't seen even a single Garbodor here. We haven't even seen a single Garbodor, and a single Garbodor would have been game as well. So yeah, the DC on the Decidueye actually ends up hurting my opponent. We deal 240 damage exactly, and we get the win. And we get the Garbodor off of our prize card. So yeah, pretty dominating win here. Pretty dominating win. Pretty happy with how the deck is performing. Definitely still in my top choices for the North American International, and it makes sense, right? Because it's one of the top decks in the format. And yeah, this will be all from me today, guys. Please do like on the video if you can. It really helps out the channel, and I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. I don't know what deck I'll be featuring, but there's for sure to be action tomorrow and on Friday on the channel. Maybe Friday will be some sort of countdown or something like that to the international. The tournament will be going on as the video is updated or uploaded, so we'll see. But thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you for leaving a like. If we can reach 100 likes, that would be awesome. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.